excuse me for my looks, but I've got a stint in me at the minute. I've had some kidney problems for a couple of years. I guess what I'm doing this video for is because I look at my kids and think of a lot of other people out there. I don't think what's happened to me is right. In 2016, I was pulled over by Highway Patrol for an RBT. They pulled over on the side of a road in some dark back street beside a cabinet thing, and I had an officer plod out into the middle of the road. This officer then said he wanted a breath test, asked me if I'd had drinks that evening, and I'd said I'd had drinks earlier, which this whole day started with me. I'd gone to my house, I'd had 3 drinks, and I hadn't drank for like 3 to 4 hours. I'd just stated to the officer I'd had drinks, and he said he needed me to blow into a device. Now from there, he smirked and claimed I needed to come to the station, so I asked him what the reading was, because I was curious how I'd have any sort of reading, or even be over. The officer simply replied with, "I don't have to tell you that." And I asked him again, said, "Pardon?" And I copped the same answer. Now he went to the next step of saying, "Oh, can you give me your license?" And provide me with a license. To which I started looking for mine, but I'd left my wallet, because I got my license back later. Left my wallet on my travels out, and basically ended up with the officer angling to get charges. I requested the reading again. He said I had to get out of the car and come to the station with him, so I pulled over the car because I said I'd continue talking to him, which then he didn't want me recording him. I started recording from that point, and we got in an argument on the side of the road where he just repeated I had to come to a station with him. I wasn't too keen on attending a station with him because of his attitude, the way he was, and I sought to question what the reading was. I never thought it would lead to where it led. 3 months later, I had police trying to issue the summons personally to me. I found out that they had attached loss of license to it, when an officer went out of his way to convince me I should just come down and take 5 minutes to sign paperwork in relation to collecting the summons. I asked him if it was to do with evidence, because I still hadn't been given the reading after 3 months despite requesting police. Again, they said they don't provide it. This is all I copped off them. I didn't cop much explanation as to why or anything, and the prosecutor down in Melbourne, not in Melbourne, Sale, as I found out, doesn't really care about running cases on merit. He just likes to score up, as he said to me, because I questioned about a seatbelt charge on there that wasn't correct. He said, "Oh, officers like to add weight." So that proud prosecutor Michael Cook in Sale, who, that in court, the officers were found to have been lying. The judge saw through. They both gave different stories, yet he never saw fit to reprimand officers or anything. I don't know, this just gets really long and confusing, but from there he just persisted on charging me with refusal to provide a sample or something. It's, I keep I had different things thrown at me constantly over the preceding year, and I sought to ask, why wouldn't you give someone a reading? That apparently didn't matter. And anyway, this officer Peveril got me to come down the station with the kids when I was looking after them. The kid's mother had pneumonia. I had to explain that to him. He said, "Oh, it'll take 5 minutes for him to sit there and smirk in between." I said, "Well, where's this?" And he goes, "Is this, and you can't drive your car." So, going out that way. I guess I watched the way the police have behaved with all of this, and the way the prosecution have followed this. I've been assaulted. I know heaps of people that have been assaulted, and constantly I also know heaps of people that have just been outright harassed by the police, followed like from way back, not pulled over until they get in the house and police knock on their door and say, we saw you driving and we want to do a test. They're going after soft targets, and they're saying there's nothing they can do about these gangs in Melbourne or anything. People having their cars stolen and they're driving around the cars for days and the police are doing nothing. And I've got an officer like Pradeep Pai and Malcolm Cook standing on the side of the road trying to play word games and get charges on people. Well, all in all, I ended up at Sale Court. They cleared the courts and stuff, put all the cases before me. Courts were annoyed because I couldn't make a session, but, you know, totally ignored the fact it was -8 degrees. Most people probably couldn't open their car doors. I even copped a comment off the court that, no, we've had a lot of warrants issued this morning. And I was just like, because it's -8 degrees and not everyone has a garage. But they don't really care. I guess this has just run me down because I got sentenced to 3 months jail for asking what my reading was. And consequently had to go through appeals, had dodgy lawyers rip off my parents to end up having to go to legal aid, who let me receive a 7-day sentence for asking a police officer a question. And I don't think the magistrate read through half the case, because he went through me about my responsibility, and I look at the officer, you know, using these charges and stuff. I guess what I've noticed is a lot of time and effort's been put in by our politicians to create laws to penalise, arrest, punish people really harshly when there's nothing being done yet. They're doing nothing about assaults and that, unless it's ambulance officers. I've been hit with a baseball bat, and I had that guy go down to the police station, and the police called me and told me to come down the station, then warned me that I could face charges if I lodged charges. And I'm like, what the hell is that about? Like, you know, he said I aggravated him and that's why he hit me with a bat. Why the hell are you hitting people with a bat? This guy terrorised the street. He had attacked everyone in the street. The police had come out because of a night when he was drunk, and, you know, all this is ignored. They don't take notes or records. I guess I've had a lot of things with the police where I've questioned where they come in, and that's why I question this officer, because of the way they are. But I don't think anyone deserves 7 days jail. And then what happened in jail was just a joke. Like, I guess, you know, people say, it's not that bad or anything like that. What I saw was ridiculous. I got put in a potato sack, and I was serving a 7-day sentence, and they saw fit to still give me 24 hours in a room with a mattress that was stained with feces and pee, and put me in a potato sack. For no good reason, other than, you know, a guy said, if you don't do as we say, we could put you in there. I just said I didn't want to eat the food. I was there for 7 days and I had a water plan. And yeah, their solution was to do that, but what I sort of noticed was I think they systematically used it as a thing in their Melbourne assessment prison, which, yeah, is interesting, you know, for asking a police officer a question to spend 7 days in a maximum security prison. Meet some of the other people and hear some of the other stories that goes on out in the world, because you sort of get trapped. Now, I've got 5.5 years of walking my kids to school in freezing weather, all for asking a question. I've got no licence. 7 days in jail where I saw stuff I didn't really need to see, and got treated like utter crap by guards that really, half of them, they belong in there. They had my house, have police come storming in, drag me out, refuse to let me get my shoes or anything, which Michael Peveril's a special case, and I back all the way along the way, saying that, you know, they don't have to look at things, it's up to them, it's their decision. Human Rights Commission saying, you know, the sentencing and stuff doesn't do it. What's going on? I guess I've contacted, this is my way of trying to contact you guys, because I don't know. Is this the future we want for our kids, where a police officer doesn't offer any justification for his actions? And on top of this, the way the police have been with evidence and refusing to give just provide it, and coming up with excuses for not providing it through freedom of information and that. It's a joke that you bring charges like of whatever happened to there being a victim with a crime. And they've created these victimless penalties and they go all out at people. Yes, it's the magistrates at the county court like to say that it's all about trying to allow the law to grow and adapt to the people, and I haven't seen that one bit. The courts have just tried to ignore me and railroad this down a process and hidden behind the fact, oh, we have to hand out this sentence or that. And I had my lawyer saying stuff like they switched the magistrate at the last minute. So when I faced my case, I was inevitably going to get jail time because they put on a magistrate called Hicks, who was apparently an ex-police prosecutor. Now, I wish they did their job when it came to people being assaulted and attacked, because, you know, in another early incident I witnessed a traffic accident and those two guys attacked me and three other guys, and they tried to kill me and they nearly killed the people in the car too. TAC botched the investigation and pretty much tried to claim the van caused the accident. They ignored anything. I wasn't never called as a witness, even though I ended up being attacked. And the police that dealt with that, trying to push the case, were ashamed at how it all ended. Well, I don't know, feels like I'm rambling. I'll leave my contact details and that in my thing, and hopefully, you know, you guys see light to at least look at this, because I don't think it's right, and a lot of other people would agree too. Thanks.